The Four Horsemen have invited the community to join them in a build in honor of World Service Day. And the guest horseman for the month is Paul from Fat Guy Productions. As many of you probably already know, Paul is a retired firefighter. So I thought, what would be better than combining a build of a fire truck with the fact that I love Johnny Lightning castings, and I had this old Topper Johnny Lightning flame out casting. And, I think Paul would love any kind of fire truck that had 3 engines. Come on. So I thought I'd do a Restomod of this one. I actually have a couple of these castings. The other one, the engine is just trashed on it. This one, fortunately, still the engine has all the pieces. The engine is actually a key part of holding this thing together, as you can see there. Sure, there's 2 posts on the bottom of this thing, and they're holding it together. But that 3-part engine, the front and back engines out of the cluster, actually crimp down kind of tightly on the pins that come up from the base. So there you see me taking the ladder, the white rubbery plastic ladder that's on the roof of this thing, pushing the pins out on this. It's just a friction fit. And even that's in pretty good shape. Oddly enough, the other casting that I have that's kind of beat to hell, for some reason the ladder's fine. I think because it is that soft rubbery plastic. And if you look up at the top there, you also see the windshield that has just it's a funny old window look to it. And I love it. I love these old Topper castings. They're the original Johnny Lightnings that go way back. Now, you see the bell on the front of that casting. I just love the look of this thing. The wheels are a little small, especially the back ones. I decided to only drill and tap the back post on this thing. Again, the front engine's pushed down so tightly on that, and the post is very shallow. It's a short post. So there was no reason to really drill the front one. As you can see, they're bearing wheels. I just pulled those wheels off the bearings. The wheels weren't in terrible shape, but they weren't great. I did want to keep the bearings as well. I keep the wheels, keep the bearings, because you never know when I might need these again. So I pull the bearings off of these. I cut the wires or bend the wire straight. As you'll see here, this one I think I bend straight, and I'm able to pull it off. Yeah, it's just bent over, and then it slides off. And then I just grab the axle, with the needle nose pliers, twist the pliers, and pull that axle out. Because I'm going to reuse where that axle goes, where it originally went. And if you've watched my other Johnny Lightning videos, the old Topper Johnny Lightning videos, you see me do this before with these, where I keep that same location where that axle goes. I don't put an axle tube or anything like that. I just end up making that hole a little bit bigger to accommodate some of the newer axles. So that's basically cleaning up that base. There's not a lot to the base. And then to make that hole just a little bit bigger, I just use a pin vise, grab a drill bit that again is just ever so slightly larger than the axle that I'll be using. I do end up throwing real riders on this. And there they are. And again, the axle's just slightly larger. These are Hot Wheels Real Riders from their Set 4 box. And I have a few of these boxes laying around. I love the Real Riders. They just have such a wonderful look to them. The sets are really nice. They actually were on sale very recently. As you're seeing this video, they had a summer sale at Mattel Creations. I posted it on my community tab. I can't remember. This set, I think, was 50% off this box. Another set was like 60% off. So you can't beat those prices, So I did pick up a few more boxes. as you can see, I like the look of those wheels on there, and the back wheels are larger than the original ones. The front wheels are basically the same size as those original Johnny Lightnings, which again are kind of small, but I thought it would look kind of odd making those very much bigger, especially there was kind of like a max on how big I could go with the back tires. Unless I went crazy and wanted to really alter the body, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to keep this somewhat like the original. I didn't want to do too many modifications to it. I do throw this in super clean. The engine here, as you see, that's a plastic engine. There are some cracks in it. So the way I do super clean is I wrap a wire around the things I'm going to dunk in there, and then I just pop them in, let them soak for a while. This thing did not take long at all for that chrome to come off. It's also fresh super clean, which doesn't hurt. I use super clean until that thing just goes dead, and then I'll pour more in it. There you see it after the chrome stripped off. And so I needed to fix a couple of the small brakes. The brakes were in the headers there, just on the back engine as well. As I recall, those were the only two pipes there that were broken. And so I just used CA glue to put that back together. Again, a very simple fix. I do end up spraying this engine with the aluminum chrome rattle can paint that I use. And I'll show that can in a little bit here when I show the other paint that I use. And those of you who have seen some of my builds before probably already know what paint I'm going to use to make this fire truck. Yeah, there's some paints I probably use a little too much, but I love them. So yeah, this again was a simple fix. It wasn't tough to do. The body itself wasn't in bad shape. It did need a little cleaning up. So jack the speed up on this part of the video. Looks like the files are just floating over that. But again, it's a pretty clean casting. It wasn't in bad shape, which made this nice. Yeah, some of the paint was definitely worn off of this, as you saw in the opening shots. But the body itself was in pretty good shape. And I'm always amazed at the glass on Johnny Lightnings. At least the early topper Johnny Lightnings. The glass, it's almost like no matter how precarious it may look in a casting, somehow it survives and survives well in most cases. Much to my shock. I did clean up the bell. The bell got a little abuse to it, probably because it's out there hanging on the front end. Now, under those front fenders, there were just a couple, it was these posts from when they cast this thing, and they just stuck up a little too much, so I got the Dremel tool out. This is a small, actually, tack light, I think it is. Dremel tool that I keep handy by the bench, as opposed to the big honking Dremel. I used a couple different tips to grind down those posts. I just didn't want them to be as prominent as they were originally. I won't say that I got them completely gone, but trust me, they're sufficiently gone when I'm done with them. You know, I didn't want to alter the fenders, the edges of the fenders in any way. And then since I am painting both the top and the base, I throw them both in IPA to clean them off. I find that IPA, for those who don't know, is isopropyl alcohol. And I find that it works really well to clean off castings. I do have my blue shop towels, again, the shop paper towels. I had run out for a while. I was using regular white paper towels, and for whatever reason, it was driving me crazy. These things, the blue ones just aren't as linty. Yes, I went with red metal cast paint on this, went over it with the clear Verth lacquer, and that was the chrome aluminum paint that you saw at the right that I do go over the base with, and the engine with it as well. Actually, I take that back. The base I went over with the metal cast base coat, same as I did the body. I used the gold paint pen, to do the bell on the front. I thought using the gold and then clear coating it gave it a brass look. You may not agree with me. We'll see when it's done. I took an axle tube and cut little donuts, just very small pieces of the axle tube that I used then to glue onto the end of the cut end of the axle after I throw this through the hole. So you see that go in. You'll see a ball bearing on the desk. I do use that off camera to hold the axle in place on where my finger is holding the alternate side of the wheel. And putting that little bead over that, I do off camera. It's very tedious in some cases. So now it's assembly time. Again, I cleaned up, the glass, cleaned up the ladder. They just need to be washed, is all. I didn't do anything else to those. The ladder is a press fit. It's a nice snug fit. It is a rubbery plastic, and it's still very snug. The glass is interesting how it sits in place around one of the engine posts and a notch in the upper half of the body. There's nothing else that holds it in place, but yet it's held in place well by how it's made. And at this point, before I put the engine on, I put the screw in the back. Again, I only drilled the back post for a screw. And actually, even without the front engines, it holds it sufficiently. It's a nice tight fit. And given the shape of the body and everything, there's really no need for that front post. I mean, I'm not going to be playing with this thing. And there you have, after I aluminum chromed with that rattle can paint the engines. That's a press fit as well. This is a very snug fit. And again, that also holds down that front half of the body, since I didn't put a screw into the post up there. That's basically it. And I keep pressing it just to be sure. But I'm pretty happy with, the overall look. It's not a big change to the original. It rolls great, though. Almost got away from me there. So there you have where it started out. I'd like to thank the Four Horsemen for hosting this event. This was fun. And Paul over at Fat Guy Productions, I hope you like this fire truck, Paul. Yeah, we were 3 blind mice together, for those who weren't around then. But I think you'll like this. It has 3 engines, Paul. There's where it started. Here's where it ended up. I like the wheels better. I didn't put any decals on it or anything like that. The original didn't have them, and I thought, well, I'll stick with that. But anyhow, thanks for hosting the event. Check out all of the other builds in this event. The Four Horsemen do a recap on their YouTube channel. And there's some glamour shots coming up. I hope you all like this build as much as I do. And thank you all for watching this video. Again, check out all the other builds. It's going to be cool to see what gets done. Everyone, thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.